All right, so I just completed the first 3.5 hours of Metal Gear Solid 3, and I'm not gonna lie, before I started playing, I was kind of intimidated by the series a little bit because, of course, growing up, you hear of the complex storylines, the weird, odd 90s camera angles that are very difficult to play now if you never played those games in the past. So I wanted to just make a quick video going over, if you are new to the series, on whether or not this is going to be an amazing experience or a pretty brutal one. So let's get into it. Before I even launched the game, I had this long history of not playing Metal Gear, and it wasn't because I didn't know about it. Oh, I definitely did. Friends would rave about Snake and all the characters, the story. Gaming blogs would call Kojima a genius. But to me, the series felt very intimidating. First off, again, the controls of Metal Gear have thrown me away and turned me away for such a long time. And it's because I really wasn't a 90s gamer. I really didn't get into video games until about 2005 when the Xbox 360 came out. And I tried to go back and play the original Resident Evil games, but just that camera angle where it's almost like a security camera in the corner of a room pointing down at you, I just couldn't figure it out. I was so used to the 2005 controls where they were becoming a little bit more modern. But yeah, first, controls, they really threw me off from wanting to play Metal Gear Solid. And then there's the cutscenes, and I love cutscenes, do not get me wrong. But when a friend tells me, hey, I just got done watching a 2-hour cutscene at the end of this Metal Gear Solid game, that could be very intimidating to someone that, again, really doesn't play single player games that often. At least at that time I didn't. Now, love them. I'll sit and watch a 2-hour cutscene all day, but back then my attention span just could not handle it. So cutscenes were a big deal for me at that time. So I stayed away until now. The remake gave me the perfect excuse, a fresh coat of paint, modernized visuals, and the sense that maybe, just maybe, it's time to finally understand what the hype is all about. So I boot up the game and instantly I'm dropped into the deep end. Within minutes, I'm talking to Major Tom, discussing how to survive in the wild. Then Snake's mentor, the boss, appears, and suddenly I'm in a philosophical conversation about loyalty, survival, war. And then there's the fact that within the first 30 minutes of the game, I think I have touched my controller maybe for less than a minute, because I am having conversations with these two characters about Snake needing to eat to survive. And we're doing all of this through comms. And I'm sitting there like, this is insane. The amount of details this game gives you is, again, it's just something that I never experienced before. And I will say that it has been a long time since I have sat and gave a game my absolute 100% full attention for 3.5 hours. In this game, I didn't look at my phone. I didn't look at my other monitor. I didn't talk to my wife. I didn't play with my dog. I didn't do nothing for 3.5 hours. I was completely locked in because my brain was trying to comprehend what I was playing and watching. And this is incredible. Like, this game is so good. At first, I gotta admit, I was kind of annoyed. I rolled my eyes at how literal some of the dialogue was. And then this is Pete Kojima. The first time the game teaches me how to save, it turns into a multi-minute conversation about Godzilla movies.
Hey Snake, you ever heard of Godzilla King of Monsters?
No, what is it?
It's a movie. You haven't seen it?
Nope.
It's about this monster called Godzilla, who grows to an enormous size in a nuclear test and goes on a rampage in Tokyo.
Nuclear test, huh? Then the Marshall Islands must be crawling with giant monsters right about now.
It's just make-believe.
Maybe that's why my pants have been so tight lately.
I had to laugh. I went in expecting this ultra serious military simulator, and suddenly Snake's chatting about monster films like he's on a podcast, and it hit me. This isn't just a game about stealth and complex stories. This is a world, a quirky, layered, sometimes bizarre, but fascinating world. And this is kind of embarrassing. I would love to tell you that I didn't die once throughout my first 3.5 hours. I was just a natural pro. I died because I was in this huge gunfight with 40 soldiers. Nope, I died to a I died to a swamp. Literally less than a minute of actual gameplay. I am face down in the mud in a swampy mess. And weirdly enough, though, that death really did help me because it forced me to rewire my brain a little bit. This isn't Call of Duty. It isn't Uncharted. It isn't run and gun. This is about patience, awareness, and survival, even when there's no actual enemies around. Once I realized that, the game started to click for me. My gamer survival instincts turned on. Suddenly, I was crawling on my belly, tranquilizing guards, dragging bodies into tall grass like I was auditioning for a stealth movie myself. That swamp death was kind of the slap across my face that I really needed to understand how to enjoy this game. As intimidating as Metal Gear's reputation is, I was surprised how much the game actually holds your hand in the beginning. It doesn't just throw you into the chaos, it explains the menus, camouflage, how to eat, how to heal, how to stay hidden. It doesn't assume you're a Metal Gear veteran. Your first mission is pretty straightforward, honestly. It's almost impossible to die unless you're actively trying. And as a newcomer, it was perfect. It gave me the confidence to keep going, to try new mechanics, to experiment with the fear of instant punishment. This is where things really started to shift. Naked Snake, the boss, these characters aren't just names that I heard through conversations with friends. For years, they were these like mythological legends to me, spoken about in forums and videos and again through conversations with friends, but seeing them in action, the voice acting, the cutscenes, the tension between them, it was like finally meeting a celebrity after hearing about them for forever. The way Snake and the boss interact feels almost Shakespearean. Mentor and student, loyalty and betrayal, strength and vulnerability. And here's the thing, even as a brand new player, I felt that tension between the two almost immediately. I didn't need 30 years of context to understand it. The performances carry it. I also want to point out that finally, after an hour and a half, the intro credits start to roll, and I am a massive James Bond fan, and these intro credits reminded me so much of the intro to a James Bond movie, and that just helped me get even more into the game. At that moment, I realized this isn't just a video game. It's not only cinema, but it's trying to outdo cinema. And honestly, it kind of does. The production value feels higher than blockbuster films. This game came out in the early 2000s originally, and even now, in remake form, it feels bigger, bolder, more ambitious than games today. If people call it peak cinema, they're not exaggerating. And I know that's such an old meme, but I feel like to stay hip, I kind of have to mention that. So I do want to pause a moment because I have to preface, and it's so easy for people to tell you the cutscenes in a game are long, and there's a lot of them, but until you experience it for yourself, it's holy shit. Yes, there are a lot of cutscenes in this game. I think in the first 2.5 hours, I may have played the game for 20 minutes of actual gameplay, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of loved it. But for some people, that could be a deal breaker. For me, again, I didn't mind at all. The dialogue is compelling, the characters keep you hooked, but I'll be real, if you only play games for constant action, this will test your patience. It's basically like binging a season of a TV drama while occasionally pressing buttons. But if you embrace that, it becomes one of the most rewarding experiences you can have in gaming. Now, when I did get to gameplay, I learned fast how punishing it really can be. There were moments I get caught sneaking around and suddenly I'm in an awkward fist fight with the guard holding an AK-47, and I was not that graceful about it. But instead of it turning me off, it pulled me in because the game's production value is so incredibly high. I didn't want to play sloppily. I didn't want to ruin the immersion. The game practically forces you to care, for the most part, especially as a new player who is trying to get into this for the very first time. You kind of want to play it right, and you want to get really good at the stealth, and you want to feel like as if you belong to this world. Now, so far, one of my favorite parts of the game is how it doles out tools. You get something cool, then it gets taken away, then later it's returned in a better form, or not necessarily returned, but you get a better version of it. Like when you finally get your first weapon, a .45 pistol, only to have the boss take it away moments later. Then, a few scenes later, another character shows up and hands you a better, silenced version of it.
Do you like it?
The feeding ramp is polished to a mirror sheen. The slide's been reinforced, and the interlock with the frame is tightened for added precision. The sight system is original too. The thumb safety is extended to make it easier on the finger. A long type trigger with non-slip grooves. A ring hammer. The base of the trigger guard's been filed down for a higher grip. And not only that, nearly every part of this gun has been expertly crafted and customized.
It keeps you hungry. It makes every little thing you get added feel like an upgrade, and it makes it feel like it's kind of earned because you're playing through the story. And man, the details of this game are absolutely mind-blowing. Leeches attached to you in swamps, mud dries on your uniform, different camo patterns change your visibility. Healing isn't just pressing a button. You see Snake bandage himself, disinfect wounds, stitch cuts. The menus become part of the roleplay. I've never seen survival integrated so seamlessly. And then when I thought the swamp humbled me a little bit, whenever I had my first boss fight against the pain, I got humbled even more. I died a lot. At first, I didn't even understand what I was supposed to be doing to defeat this guy. I shot, I threw grenades, then I realized his stamina bar was the key. I used the tranquilizer gun. Suddenly, the fight clicked. After a mix of throwing grenades, close-up tranquilizer headshots, and trial and error, I finally beat him. It wasn't easy, but when I did it, I felt proud, like I actually earned it. And that's about where my first session of the game ended. I stopped around 1 o'clock in the morning because I had work the next day, and I felt like I didn't even scratch the surface of this game quite yet. The remake looks absolutely stunning. The jungle atmosphere is alive, sunlit glinting off puddles, vibrant greens, realistic shadows. The caves feel suffocating. The wildlife feels threatening. It's not just a remaster, it's this atmospheric experience. So all of this to answer the question, is this game too difficult for beginners? And to be honest, absolutely not. Is it intimidating? Absolutely yes. But as long as you take your time with it, you really give yourself to this world, you'll get through it just fine. Because the game does guide you, it teaches you, and rewards you for persistence. As a complete newcomer, I came away hooked. The cutscenes didn't bore me, the challenge didn't scare me off. If anything, it made me hungry to keep going. If you've ever avoided Metal Gear because of old graphics, clunky controls, or overwhelming storylines, this remake is your chance, and trust me, it is absolutely worth it. So those are my first 3 hours of Metal Gear Solid, from dying to a swamp in under a minute of actually playing the game to just being in complete awe over the cutscenes in this game, because it is so ambitious. It's honestly something that I feel like I needed as a gamer, something completely different from a series that I've missed growing up my entire life. And who knows, maybe I'll go back and play the previous games and just become an absolute Metal Gear Solid super fan. But until the next one, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, peace out.